So the famous scholar Ibn Sirin was performing the tawaf around the Kaaba, the circumambulation around the Kaaba. And performing the tawaf, he heard a person making dua. And the person was saying, "Oh Lord, forgive me, but I don't think you will do that." So Ibn Sirin turned to him and he said, "What type of dua is this?" Because an important point, dua, dear ones, this is a mistake commonly made. Dua is a request. You ask Allah Rabbul Izzah with conviction that He Azza wa Jal grant you your request. You do not include doubt in the dua. You don't say, "I don't think you will do this." And something that is common now, we say, "Allah give you this, insha'Allah, Allah willing." There's no insha'Allah in dua. You don't say, "If you want, give me this." You say, "Ya Rab, give me this." And if He Azza wa Jal wishes to give it to you and it is your khair, He Azza wa Jal will give it to you. But you do not add a clause of doubt or a clause of "if you want" in dua. So don't say, "Allah reward you insha'Allah." Say, "Allah Rabbul Izzah reward you." So Allah, don't say, "Oh Allah forgive me insha'Allah." Say, "Ya Rabb forgive me," and so on and so forth. So Ibn Sirin heard this dua, and the man is not saying, "Insha'Allah forgive me." He's saying, "I know you won't do this. Like, oh Lord forgive me, but I don't think you will." So Ibn Sirin, the scholar, turned to him, rebuking him. "What type of dua is this?" So he said, "You don't know my situation, Ibn Sirin." So Ibn Sirin says, "Tell me about your situation." And young ones, I want you to listen carefully to this. So he said, "I was one of the young men who was disgruntled with Uthman ibn Affan." Uthman ibn Affan, radiyallahu anhu wa ardah, is the son-in-law of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Just feel the weight of that. He is the son-in-law of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, of the near and dear of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and of the early Muslims, like of the 10 promised paradise whilst walking the earth was Uthman ibn Affan. And he was the one of whom angels would be shy. So a mighty companion of the earliest of companions, the one who has been part of the entirety of the message and messengerhood of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. This Uthman ibn Affan was begrudged by this group of youth, because this group of youth, this young man, thought that he is not following the religion properly, that he is cutting corners. So he, in his passion and in his lack of information and lack of knowledge, he took an oath upon himself. He's telling Ibn Sirin that "I was of those disgruntled with Uthman, and I took an oath upon myself that I will slap him in the face when I see him." And at this time, Uthman ibn Affan is an old man. He is in his 70s and above. And he is the Khalifa of the Muslims. He is the man who is the leader of the Muslims. Yet this young kid, somewhere at the outskirts of the Islamic world, has understood that this giant of a scholar, this righteous man that used to finish the Quran once a night, has somehow erred in the deen. This one now feels that I will fix him, I will give him a slap. So he says, "When I arrived in Medina, I found that he was already killed." So this young man says, "When I arrived at the scene, he was already dead. And his wife was next to him, and he was covered because he had died." So this man comes in with his friends and finds the dead body of Uthman ibn Affan martyred and covered, and his wife crying next to him. So he says, "Uncover his face." So she could see ill intent on his face. So she resisted, but they uncovered the blessed face of Uthman ibn Affan. And this young man slapped the face of this martyr, of the son-in-law of the Prophet, of the Khalifa of the Muslims, of the one who was given glad tidings of Jannah, slapped his face. So in a moment of anguish, Na'ilah, the wife, cried out. So she said, may Allah paralyze your hand and take your eyes, and may He not forgive you. So the man, this young man is telling, now he's an older man, he's telling Ibn Sirin the story. So he moved the cloth off his hand. He goes, see Ibn Sirin, what's happened to my hand? And Ibn Sirin says, I saw his hand like a dried up twig, like a piece of branch that is dead, dry. And he said, look at my eyes. And he goes, he was blind. So he said that because the first two parts of her prayers have been accepted, the last will also be accepted. Meaning that, oh Lord, don't forgive him. Paralyze his hand, take his eyes, and don't forgive him. So he says, that is why I call out, oh Lord, forgive me, but I don't think you will. So I say this to you, my dear students. In your desire to fix someone else, make sure you don't ruin yourselves. I repeat, in your desire to fix someone else, make sure you don't ruin yourselves. A lot of times as young ones, you will come across a lesson or an idea or a point. And in your passion, you look around and you see, hold on, this sheikh doesn't do that. And this sheikh has misunderstood this. And you are not even, 100th part of the knowledge of that sheikh or that alim. You have barely scratched the surface. Yet out of your zeal and out of your passion and out of your lack of information and lack of knowledge, you burn with this desire to correct and refute and point fingers and critique. And I caution you through this, that there was a young man before you who thought he is right and a great alim and a scholar is wrong. And in his desire to fix him, he ruined himself.